show them. But here we go, going into this with these two teams that are both in the Hall of Fame, and it looks like, I mean, we're going on to Splat Zones, but we have so many maps that we haven't seen yet, and I really hope that we get to see another one that's kind of a fun Zones map.
Yep, as we're about to find out what our Zones map will be. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, see, and I don't even like this map, so nobody can blame me for liking a map like this.
We got our first Schellendorf of the day. Congratulations to these two teams. I'm sure they're proud of their accomplishment before they even start the match. That being said, again, I don't really know much about these teams. I know Dodge, I believe, plays backline chargers, I think. I could even be wrong about that. But that's basically all I know. I don't really know much about these guys.
Chat says that Electro tends to play Brush, so we'll see if that's something that we'll see on Schellendorf. As a map on a whole, the community has sort of collectively said that nobody really enjoys it. But if you have to play it, what are the weapons you want to play?
Basically, you want something with as much range as possible that you can comfortably play, going to the top part of the map on what's referred to as the glass, and then a lot of your painter weapons going down low to help hold the zone. At the same time, having bomb rushes up high, storms, anything that can be used to paint the zone comfortably and safely from the top of the map is going to do well. Looking at the comps, we got Electro on the Brush Nouveau, Ballpoint Nouveau being used, the custom machine, and the custom dually squelchers. A lot of paint coverage with a double storm coming out here. Additionally, on the side of Kolrise, you got a... Oh, that's a machine. Oh, I forget. Is that custom machine? I forget what the icon is of that. Anyway, you got a slashing machine, you got a heavy remix, an Zap, and a Neo Splash. Machine Neo, that's what it is, Neo. So, lots of paint coming out from the side of Kolrise as they have 2 bomb rushes and a Booyah Bomb.
And hopefully it'll help them here. I think that it can be really tough when you're playing this map for Booyah, because if you can get yourself, sometimes you can get yourself stuck in a position where the Booyah doesn't quite help you with zone because of the situation of where glass is placed. So, you know, everybody needs to be very, very focused on where they're going to be using the specials. But is it Izakanu that you mentioned earlier? Getting those beautiful shots with that ballpoint right there and coming up to just try to open up their opportunity for their team to make a decent push on zone.
Yeah, some interesting fights happening. Dodge engage the enemy player just to pop their Booyah and throw it at zone. That was interesting maneuver there. But so far, Kolrise is playing this very well. They're using their backline heavy to kind of get up top and use the range. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is being aggressive, trying to get on the enemy glass. The one time they're able to do so, help them get a push all the way down to 42. That's what looks like Momentum is currently trying to do themselves. But it's interesting. You have the machine, which is one of their more aggressive weapons, kind of sitting back more towards the zone, yet at the same time, 2 members for Kolrise go down. Kolrise really trying to capture the zone to apply a penalty to Momentum here. Going to be very important for them to do so. They just invested a lot, but instead go 2 down. We're now in a 2v2. It looks like Momentum's about to get the lead here, and they do.
Very nice job right there. That's exactly what Momentum was going for. And even though the zone was neutralized for just a second by Kolrise, it's not going to be quite enough. And I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take it at this time either. They really don't have the positioning that they need. And even with that bomb rush coming out, Pika goes down by Electro's brush. And it's just that Momentum seems to be in a better position consistently to hold on to this zone right now.
Yeah, it looks like too many members of Kolrise are just rushing in one by one, getting picked off by this brush who's using Ninja Squid, and it's catching too many people off guard. Honestly, all they really need to do, they have so much more painting output with their double bomb rush plus Booyah Bomb. They really just need to stay alive as a team and use those painting specials to just hold the zone over and over again, and they could just simply outlast Momentum here. Electro using the baller to get into the zone. They're not able to cap it, though, although that splashdown makes it super close. This could be a pivotal fight here.
Zone goes back in favor to Kolrise, so that's going to be great for them. But Momentum working pretty hard to get in. It looks like, as you mentioned earlier when we were going into the game, having that control of glass is really, really helpful, but it doesn't quite do enough as the zone goes back in favor here.
Yeah, the heavy remix player for Kolrise is doing a really good job of staying alive and, you know, anchoring that top. But it looks like the other teammates of Kolrise are just not able to hold up to this brush. It really looks like it's just the Electro going in and just getting pick after pick after pick, rather than people trying to go up top and avoid the brush. You know, there's no need to go down low and engage that brush if you don't need to. You have so much painting opportunities with your specials to make that happen. As 2 more members go down to a bomb.
That can be really tough if you just are finding those ways that you're just getting caught off guard, and consistently going down is not going to help. That brush doing so much work here. As mentioned earlier, you know, at the very beginning of this tournament, I had said that lately we've been seeing this like double brush coming out for zones a couple of times. We've seen 2 brushes today for zones, so I'm really excited to see if that'll continue to happen, because Electro's doing a great job with it so far. That is going to be the game for Momentum, if I have my colors correct. And they've just shown very well that they're able to kind of shut things down as they're happening from Kolrise. And I think we'll continue to see that. Their KA almost doubles in some cases.
Yeah, Electro really putting on a clinic there with the 18 KA. But what's honestly to me tells the story is that Kolrise really had the composition to take Electro out of the game. They had so much paint available, both from their main weapons and their specials. And especially when you're using a Ninja Squid ink brush, if you just prevent them, or if you prevent the ink brush from being able to swim up to your players, you take the ink brush out of the game, especially in a zones map. Especially on a Schellendorf map, where all you can do is stay up high. You don't have to engage the ink brush, but instead they engage the ink brush over and over and over again. They kept using their specials after they dropped down low rather than using them from up high, and they really just did not play the composition ideally. I think some different decisions being made from Kolrise there, and we would have seen a completely different game.
And maybe we'll see that coming up, because now we're going on to tower control at Skipper Pavilion. This will be the 3rd time we've seen Skipper today. We only have 3 modes that we're playing, so now it's run the gamut of all 3. And maybe this will be an opportunity for Kolrise to come back, kind of face off some of this aggression and positioning that Momentum was able to have on lock for that last game, and we'll see what they can do.
Yep, as we get started here, I'm not sure what much will change from as team compositions, but I'm guessing Electro's going to stick to brush. And waiting for a load up here. Yep, got that ink brush, heavy, Kensa machine, and a pro. Kensa Pro, and we also on the side of Kolrise got a heavy splatling, NZAP. Very similar composition as last game, only this time they're using a vanilla heavy splatling and a Kensa machines instead of the Neo machine. Again,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, again, the big thing that Kolrise needs to do here is just prevent the movement of the brush. You do that, and the game will become so much easier for them.
It really will, and it seems as though, even though they were able to get those 2 picks early on, right now Momentum is able to get those 2 in return and take early control of this tower. Looks like somebody is coming around to flank behind, gets the first pick, not quite able to get the one on Radiance that maybe they were going for, and Momentum is going back towards this tower, as now they have a little more cover to make sure that they can continue this push.
At the same time, 2 members of Momentum go down here. An opportunity for Kolrise to try to get back into the middle of the map. really want them to try to isolate these members that have specials, but unfortunately they're not able to shoot down that splashdown player. And right now they really just need to hold the middle of the map. Get your team together and organized. Don't necessarily need to force anything. A nice Fizzy Bomb being used there to clean up that kill. But unfortunately, too eager to go for the next fight, and the brush punishes that.
Brush going down in a trade right there, that might help a little bit too, because it does give a little opportunity for Kolrise, but not quite enough, as there's just really not enough objective focus happening right now. The tower is consistently resetting to mid. The moment Kolrise does have an opportunity, they get a little bit, they, you know, what's the expression, gain an inch, lose a mile. But now it looks like they're finally on their way with that Stingray coming out from the side of Momentum is gonna maybe make this a little difficult for them, as they had to back off for a stretch, but they are continuing to push.
Yeah, they did a good job of making it past the checkpoint, and then once the Stingray came out from Momentum, they just avoided the tower and just stayed alive. They knew that as long as they stayed alive, they would have been fine. They could regain their push. That's what they're doing, and because of that decision-making, they're getting rewarded all the way to a push of 23. Eventually, multiple members go down, and that'll be the end of that push. But here, looking at the special counter, as a member of Momentum goes down from a remaining player of Kolrise, forcing Momentum to use these specials early on at that first checkpoint is going to be significant.
Very, very true, and it looks like right now they're working to do everything they can to try to make sure that they can get some of this lead here. They have 3 members in a pretty good position right now, but that Stingray coming out is going to force Radiance to back off a tiny bit. If they can stay alive from it, though, it will be in their best interest. They're going to launch this Booyah Bomb a little too far for my comfort. It could have been a little more helpful for some of the, on top of the plat, closer to where they had been positioned, but they are able to get through the second checkpoint. If I am correct, they are. So they do get through that, which will be very beneficial if they have to run this back again. Beautiful, beautiful shot right there by Pika. And Radiant's still alive, not quite long enough. Getting it all the way to 29, though, not so bad.
And one more member jumping in. I believe that is Electron the Brush, so they need to be careful about him. You need to find him so they don't get sharked, and there he is, and eventually take him out, which is good. A very, very close push. It was very, very chaotic. A lot of members not dying to specials, which resulted in a lot of aggressive plays being made. You got a Bomb Rush coming in from the wall. Basically here, what Kolrise needs to do is just make sure they don't invest too many specials at a single time. If they invest too many specials without getting any picks, that'll allow for Momentum to get back in control of mid fast, while Kolrise no longer having any specials to defend this last second push coming out from Momentum. So really just need to play it a little bit slow and not give up too much ground by Kolrise. That's what you're looking for here.
I think that they are definitely capable of it. It's just a matter of making sure that they have all of their positioning, that they're paying attention to it, because right now is that exact moment here. 2 down on the side of Kolrise, Momentum coming up with 3 up, and they do have 1 special, but no, not quite able to hang onto it in face of that Stingray. Radiance goes down, and that is going to be the game going to Kolrise.
Yes, almost was able to pull up that last second push there, but then nicely used Ray makes it possible for them to get on the tower. Kolrise tying the series up 1-1.
Very nice job here, and we'll see what they're going to have to contend with on Rainmaker. Which team is going to be able to take this, and who will take the set from it?
Yes, we'll have to see what map gets picked here. And we're getting our first Reef of the day. Another kind of fast-paced Rainmaker map. Really easy to get strong pushes, really fast pushes here. So you really want to avoid getting early wiped at the start of the game. composition-wise, this is another map where an ink brush could have a lot of avenues to flank and apply a lot of pressure to defense. On offense, it's a little bit more difficult, but still possible. Again, I think the key for Kolrise is to just kind of make sure they're taking care of their flanks, making sure they're not getting surprised by that brush. And for Momentum, I think they just need to combine their specials and make sure that Kolrise's attention is generated on them to let Electro come in with those brush flanks to make a strong push.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that it seemed like for a little while I was thinking Kolrise was taking their time to make a decision of how they were going to face off on this brush. Because, as you said, that is really going to be the kicker here. If they can make sure they have Electro figured out where they are on the map at all times, that's going to help them quite a lot. So we'll see what each team decided to do in terms of changing up a comp. Not many changes here.
Yes, alright, so not much changes as you mentioned going into this. Both teams now opting to use this Neo Splash-O-Matic for the Bomb Rush option. A good choice to use on the Rainmaker because it allows for plays where someone can pick up the Rainmaker and just push it as far as forward, intending to actually dive. And then your Neo Splash player uses their Bomb Rush to get an instant pop right afterwards to continue the push and catch teams off guard if you're not ready for it. So some strategy being used here.
And this is something you had mentioned earlier in a set we were watching, how sometimes it's better to kind of let the Rainmaker be, even if the shield is popped, and just wait for an opportunity to clean up some of the other members of the teams before you make a push here. And that is what happened right there. Beautiful job by Momentum at first to push this. And 47, not a very strong push, but really nice play by them. They took their time, and they made sure that it was in a good position before they did anything.
At the same time, Pika coming in with a huge stop, was able to get 2 picks by themselves to stop that push from coming through. Stopping the push at 47, which really isn't that much. So very good job coming out of Pika. Stinger being used to get control of the middle of the map here. I don't know. Now they won't really have a Stinger for a push, but a nice Fizzy Bomb getting a pick here. If they can get this machine, that's 3 down, the only person left being the brush, and they see where the brush is, they know where it's at. They can potentially get a really strong push here.
This could be exactly what they were going for the whole time. They are able to take the lead, bringing it all the way up to 34. That is a beautiful
Here comes the Bomb Rush. And there it goes.
There you go.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Rainmaker goes down, pop the Bomb Rush, insta-pop it, get a secondary push all the way to 12. Very, very well done.
And Pika is still there, even though they are all by themselves. If some of the rest of the team can jump in before they go down, not going to be able to do it. So that will be the end of those pushes there. The Rainmaker shield was popped. It's now up to the rest of Kolrise to push as far forward and get this Rainmaker back in control before they're able to do anything. Because if they were able to do it, they could have had a knockout, but Rainmaker is reset, and Momentum has a lot of work they need to do in order to get that lead back.
Yeah, 12 is a very strong push on this map, but by all means, it is not a guaranteed game yet. It is still very possible for Momentum, especially with 2.5 minutes here of game time left, to still pull this out. And it all comes down to map control. And if you lose map control in the mid and you're constantly playing in defense, the more and more likely you are to eventually falter. So really want to fight for that middle control on this map, especially the Reef, where it's such a wide and big area in the middle and kind of narrow and small on your side of the base. 2 members go down for Kolrise here, but they're doing a very good job of stalling, and they actually make it around this corner here, drawing a lot of attention away from the middle of the map. I actually really like that play.
I think that was a really nice play too. It puts the Rainmaker in a very awkward position as well, because now Momentum needs to traverse that whole side of the map if they want to get anywhere, because they can't quite gain any points by just going up. They need to go all the way across to the side, and they're not going to be able to do it with so many members of Kolrise just raining down from above. Pika getting that other stop there, getting an assist with it, and has that splashdown in the ready to kind of take on whatever else Kolrise or Momentum has coming their way.
Yeah, Pika is really being a clutch player this game, consistently being in good positions, getting pivotal picks, And regardless of what their final score may or may not be at the end of the game, you can just see just by watching from the spectator cam that we have currently going on, they're just being very smart. They understand they don't always have to be going for kills. They understand what needs to be done. Giving up that pressure they had to come back and deal with this baller to help their team maintain mid-control. Some really smart decisions being made by Pika this game.
I think so far we've seen Pika, you know, do a lot of plays that have been super strong, and really it's what Kolrise has been waiting for. Look at this kind of sneaky movement all the way up to that podium right there. Kind of not
the bomb rush! The bomb rush again!
That's exactly what you were talking about. That bomb rush is going to be able to clutch that out every time if you time it correctly.
Yep, and even then, even though they did get one more point there, and on top of that, they just reset the middle of the map. They were able to get so much pressure. Momentum now has to fight for middle of the map control again. Electro and the Heavy having a duel down here on the bottom of the map, but this could be it. Here's the last time Momentum will be able to grab the Rainmaker.
Momentum has nobody ahead of them, but so many people coming up from behind, not going to be able to do it. That does call the game for the second game going to Kolrise, and that gives them the set over Momentum.
And that is actually Momentum's first loss of the ladder today. So, good job by both teams here. A very strong win coming out of Kolrise. They will improve to 5-2 as Momentum drops down to 6-1. With just about 20 minutes left to play in the ladder.